Hello, viewers. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today's study is on the story December by Filemon Liyambo from the anthology A Silent Song and Other Stories. Before we continue, viewers, allow me to thank you all for your support, for your subscription, for your views and likes. If you're visiting us for the first time, then allow me to also request you to take a second or two and click onto that subscribe button so that anytime we produce a video like this, then YouTube will notify you. The story December by Philemon Liyambo. This is such an interesting story, and it majorly talks about the reality of mental illness in our societies today. As we speak, mental illness is a very great disease in the world we live in today. And this comes out so well in Filemon Liyambo's December. I will tackle this story by looking at the major thematic concerns that the writer gets to deal with. The dominant theme in this text or in this story is that of mental illness. I want to take us through how mental illness has been brought out in this story. In the family of Ezekiel Shikongo, there seems to be mental illness that is being passed down from one generation to the other. It begins with Ezekiel's brother, Joseph. Ezekiel's younger brother, Joseph, in his teenage years, seems to become mad. First, we see him lose track of time, and the days of weeks become a blur to him. At the beginning, Ezekiel, his brother, is seen to dismiss all this and to tease him. He calls this idiotism. He believes this will stop, but it doesn't. Then at the end of the day, Joseph gets to lose himself and he gets lost. After some time, the brother Ezekiel dreams about leopard that went to a certain stream to drink water. And in that dream, at the edge of the stream, he sees Joseph seated. When the search party has been released to go and seek Joseph, then they find him at the exact spot. The elders later on are seen to take Joseph to the healer. The second instance of lunacy that may have not matured into a full-fledged madness is that of Silas Shikongo. Silas Shikongo, the father to the December and September, is a son of Ezekiel. It is quite interesting that the writer mentions that Silas Shikongo was really friendly to the unconventional. He is said to have named his last 4 children after the names of months that they were born in. And that really justifies the somewhat weird names December and September. It is evident that his friends call this rebellion that is in public, but in private, they view this as stupidity. His father, Ezekiel, also joins in this because what is also awkward is that December was born in September, while a September was born in July. Ezekiel, that is Silas' father, calls this idiotism. The same word with which he used to refer to Joseph's condition. Again, at the point of maturation of Joseph's lunacy, we also saw him lose track of time, and days and weeks became blurred to him. That could be the same thing that is experienced in Silas Shikongo. It is not mentioned, however, in the text that at the end of the day, Silas Shikongo became a lunatic. But it is interesting that Silas Shikongo had an untimely demise. And that has been mentioned in comparison to what December's madness has really done to the mother. Later on, the vicious cycle of mental madness then lands on December, which is a character in this text. It is mentioned that just the same way a thread breaks loose, that is how December's madness got to unravel. It unraveled first in parts, and then later on, it was all at once. It was all go. She first had problems with the classmates in the form of catfights and name calling, and later on, December began walking half naked, having soliloquies and monologues. She was speaking to herself. When September finally arrives to visit December, in the psychiatric ward, then she meets a girl who has been beaten by life. She's gaunt. Her physical features have given way to mental madness. We also see that the lips are swollen. Could be as a result of having beaten herself against a wall. Another effect that the mental madness gets to have on December is that she descended from being a stellar student in school into a psychiatric student. It really worries Ezekiel, the grandfather, because December is just some few months before she graduates from a secondary school. After that, December had planned to enroll to a teacher's training college and pursue her dreams of becoming a teacher, all those dreams are trashed onto the ground because of the lunacy that catches up with December. When September goes to visit December, then she finds a lady with the hair scattered on her head like patchy cowcovel grass. So the physical attraction that many had of December, the beauty, then gets to fade away. We are told later on in the text that there was a time that puberty had invited womanhood so early in the life of December, such that people like Shuveni got attracted to her. But then the figure that we now meet when September goes to the psychiatric ward to visit December is that whose beauty has really faded. So physically, we see mental illness or madness or lunacy take its toll on the physical attributes of December. Another thematic concern that the story December also deals with is that of familial relationship. We are welcomed to an extended family. At the head of the family in this story is Ezekiel Shikongo. After Ezekiel Shikongo, then the arrow drops down to Silas Shikongo, who is the father to December and September. It's quite interesting to see the kind of familial support that December receives from her family when she is struggling with the scourge of mental illness. Ezekiel, who is December's grandfather, is quite beaten. Because December is his favorite daughter. So he claims that December has been bewitched. It is quite interesting how he goes ahead and takes December to the healers, to the ire of December's brother. After realizing, and probably because the healer really does little, Shikongo then takes December to the hospital. And in her admission files at the psychiatric ward, we see the old Shikongo's name there. It is also quite interesting to see the concern, the care, and the love shown by Ezekiel Shikongo when it becomes apparent that he is against the son, naming the children according to the months. And he fears that that idiotism, what he calls idiotism, will rub on the grandchildren. That shows the concern and the love that Ezekiel has for the grandchildren. It is also quite interesting to note that after a certain mishap in the garden, Ezekiel forbade December from eating chicken and for her good. There is also a mishap or kind of an accident that occurs in the garden, and at that time, December is 6 years old and September 2 years younger, that is 4 years old. The story is told because it was wont for December to tend to the vegetable garden and at the same time to take care of her younger brother, September. So on this day, September, with this love for hiding, is hiding between tomato plants, and then he suddenly springs up when December is mid-swing. And the impact, there is an impact that the hoe makes on his head, which forms a small but a deep gash. December then rips up her t-shirt that had been donated to her by a British volunteer kindergarten teacher. What then happens? September is taken to hospital, and when brought back with a bandaged head, she nurses the brother back to health. At the age of 6 years, what this brings about is an incredible level of love and care. It is quite interesting that at just 6 years old, then the young and intelligent December is able to take care of her brother that way. When finally the mental illness catches up with December, and it is September's time to repay the goodwill that she had been shown some years earlier by the sister when she is first admitted at the psychiatrist ward. It is evident that he occasionally visits December, and in his visits he goes there to buoy her spirit, asks her how she's doing, alongside taking food to her. But we must remember that no chicken, because Ezekiel Shikongo has forbade December from taking chicken. He used to take beef and mutton. On the highlighted visit, the visit that has just been highlighted in the story, we saw September take a jersey. He was also there, took a pen and a puzzle book. And what next? A t-shirt with a Union Jack embroidered onto it, just similar to the one that December ripped up some years ago to stem the bleeding from her. It is also very interesting that the family of the Shikongos are also challenged by the monster of death. It is mentioned that the illness by December is compared to the untimely demise of his father and the effect it had on the mother even. So at this point of September's visit, the next day they are to bury the grandfather, Ezekiel Oshikongo. So there is an incredible support system in this family. Ezekiel, September, taking care of the sister December, and at the same time, the mother is also concerned, and the mother is also aging due to the mental illness. Thank you.